Hi, this is Stacia, and we're going to take a look at the modern defense against the King's Gambit. And this is a variation that comes from the King's Gambit Accepted, and it's where Black plays this move, d5, on move 3. And just to tell you a little bit about this opening, it is one of the most common ones that you will see. I have faced it at least 3 or 4 times in the last year over the board in actual rated tournament play. And I also see it online quite a bit as well, and I play it as white and black. So the idea here is that black is going to strike in the center right away with this move d5. So this undermines the e pawn, and black is not going to try to hold on to their pawn like in some of the other lines, like the main lines, where they play like g5 and try to really hold on to this. Instead of that, black's just going to open it up and play for the initiative. And you should know that a lot of publications claim that the modern defense basically allows black to equalize fairly easily against the King's Gambit. So let's have a look at this opening, and we're going to look at basically the first 10 moves of the main line. I'm not going to go super in depth. We're just going to get sort of an intro to this opening, and I'll give you my thoughts. Okay, so to start out, let's see how we get to this. It's e4, e5, f4 is the King's Gambit. Now black's going to take the pawn, and we play knight f3. And we should note that a move here, bishop c4, is possible. But you should know that if you're going to play this called the bishop's gambit, you are allowing this check, and the king goes to f1. And this is playable, but you should probably know what you're getting into there. Instead of that, I play the main move, knight f3. And this knight conveniently guards against that check. So that's nice. And now basically black is at the point where they're going to choose how they want to defend against this. So g5 is the main line, but d5, the modern defense, is the second most common. Third is d6, Fisher's defense, and then fourth is bishop e7, called the Cunningham defense. And I play something called the Wild Cunningham against that. I'll save that for another video. It's pretty fun though. Okay, so d5. When this was first played against me and I hadn't seen it, um, it was unnerving to me as a new King's Gambit player because I know that I want to gain space in the center. I want to play d4, I want to play bishop c4, and I want to have a nice strong center. d5 kind of wrecks that plan immediately because now the e pawn is under attack. And even if we defend it, let's say with a knight, I don't think we necessarily want to end up with this structure. So, okay. So that being said, we're going to take this pawn. Okay, this is the main line. And now black is going to play knight f6. There is another move that you will see, bishop d6, trying to hold on to the pawn. That kind of goes against what this opening was designed for, but it can be annoying to face. Against this, I recommend a quick knight c3, knight b5, if you can get it in. All right, but let's go ahead and look at knight f6. Okay, so this is move 4, and knight f6 is a pretty basic move, developing a piece. Black is going to want to probably play bishop e7 and castle as soon as possible, get their king safe, since we have a fairly open game here. Also, the knight is eyeing the pawn, which is attacked twice. Notice, I don't think that black wants to take with a queen here, because now we play knight c3 with tempo, and the queen will have to move again. In fact, the best square is to the d8 square. So I would say that white gains a tempo here and gains more of an advantage than usual. So that's kind of the idea behind knight f6, is we want to recapture with a knight instead of a queen. Okay, and here I do want to note there's a couple main moves here. So the main move that I play myself and that I see others play is bishop c4. It's possible to play c4. I'm not going to cover that move. It's not the main line. And there's also bishop b5 check, which I want to show very, very briefly. I don't like this line, and I'll show you why. Some people claim it's very strong, though. So c6 is the obvious response, but white's playing this to take advantage of the fact that this pawn is still on the d5 square. Okay, we can take. The knight does develop with tempo. Okay, so black is gaining some more development here. And then I guess the main move next is d4. Although I can tell you in the database, black's already scoring better than white. And if you go for something like this, just wrecking black's structure, I'm not sure this is so great. I'll check with the engine real quick, but yeah, I mean, the engine gives like a slight plus for black. That's not so unusual in the King's Gambit. So it's probably just equal. But this, if you're playing the King's Gambit, this is not the type of game that you're generally going for, where black gets the dynamic play. So I think bishop c4 is a better move. Yeah, so after knight f6, we're not going to go bishop b5 check. We're going to go to c4. So we're kind of defending the pawn. We're saying, like, if your knight takes, maybe we'll take it and draw the queen out and then play knight c3. This is all possible. Okay. So the next move in the main line is the move knight takes d5. But white does not take right away. Okay, and you don't have to take it all, truth be told. Keep in mind that this is your very powerful light squared bishop. This is your attacking bishop, and it's placed on the Italian diagonal, and it's pointed at f7. So I would not be quick to give away this bishop. Also, if you do this, now black has the two bishop advantage in an open game. So I actually think that black's probably doing great here, probably slightly better, because I'm not sure that this extra pawn means anything. Or I'm sorry. I mean, it doesn't mean much, but it's not even captured yet. So it means probably a tempo at least. Okay. Anyway, let's go back to the main line. So after bishop c4, black takes the pawn, and now white simply castles. This gets out of any silly business with queen e7 check. Also, when you have an open game, it's a good idea to get your king safe as soon as possible. Although, when you play the King's Gambit, you move your f-pawn on move 2. So you do need to be aware of the dark square diagonal. Sometimes things happen there. So king h1 is not a bad idea later in the game. All right, so black's going to play bishop e7. I think it's clear that black simply wants to castle. I'm not totally sure about this, but I think the move bishop e7 is preferable to trying to hold on to the pawn, because white might have silly stuff like checks and knight c3 to knight b5 is kind of my thought there. So bishop e7 is very sensible. Black's just going to castle. And now d4 is the main move. The idea behind d4 is very clear. White wants their share of the center, and white wants to recapture the pawn as soon as possible. Now that the king's safe, this is the second order of business. All right, so black's going to go ahead and castle. And now we go ahead. Well, actually, we take the knight first because the knight's guarding. I just noticed that. All right, so we're going to take this knight. They're going to take with the queen. And now we're going to take. Okay, don't drop your bishop. Okay. And so in this position, now we have drawn the queen out, which we waited to do, but at least we're going to get a tempo on the queen. And black's going to play c6, and then knight c3 is played. Now the queen has a lot of squares. I've seen people play queen a5. I've seen people play queen h5. I've seen queen f5, which seems a little crazy to me, going in line with the rook. But I've seen all these moves. But the best move, and the most played, is queen d8. Just get the queen out of danger and play with the bishop pair in an open game. So that actually, let's see, that actually completes move 10. So we have completed the opening. But I have one last thing I want to share, and then we'll go ahead and review it really quickly just to remember what the main line looks like. All right, so one thing I want to note is that I have played this incorrectly before, and I want to share what I did so that you don't do the same. Okay, so after d5, I've played it so that I've taken, and after knight f6, I did play bishop c4, and after takes, okay, wait, not bishop c4. Here was my mistake, okay. I played the move d4. Looks totally natural. Okay, the knight takes, and my idea was, okay, I want to take this pawn as soon as possible. Now I played bishop c4. They played something like bishop e7. And I took, and the queen took, and I played bishop takes f4. Now, there's no games in the database with this position, and the reason is it's losing. Queen e4 check. This is why you want your king in a safe place. So this forks the king and the bishop, and this basically wins the game on the spot, so not recommended. So let's go ahead and go through the whole opening quickly now, just to review. So e4, e5, and f4. This is the king's gambit. We're looking at the king's gambit accepted when they accept the pawn, and knight f3, the main move. This is called the king's knight gambit of the king's gambit. Now, black is not continuing with the main line g5. They're going d5, and this is the modern defense. We're going to take this pawn. Keep in mind, we're not really happy about this. We'd rather have the pawn on e4, but this is really the best option. Knight f6 is played, and bishop c4, getting our bishop to an excellent square, although bishop c5 is also playable. All right, black now takes the pawn. We do not take back right away. We first get our king into safety, probably because of that queen e4 check thing I was talking about with the bishop here. All right, and bishop e7 is played. Black wants to castle immediately. Now we play d4. And after castles, now we go ahead and conduct an operation to win back the f-pawn. We take the knight, they come back, and we take on f4. Now c6 is played. And why is c6 played? I'm so glad you asked. Honestly, I think the main reason is maybe black doesn't want to allow this d5 push at some point. So this is also kind of just solid. But in all honesty, I'm not sure I totally understand that move. And then knight c3 and queen d8. All right, and that completes the main line, at least what little I know about it that I wanted to share. On the King's Gambit modern defense. So I hope that this helps you face it. It is a different type of game than you'll normally get with the King's Gambit, especially an accepted variation. But I hope this kind of showed you some of the main ideas, and I'll be back with more videos. Thanks for watching. Bye.